Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for August 4th, 2025. When my enemies turn back, from Psalm chapter 9, verses 3 through 6. When my enemies turn back, they stumble and perish before your presence. For you have maintained my just cause. You have sat on the throne, giving righteous judgment. You have rebuked the nations. You have made the wicked perish. You have blotted out their name forever and ever. The enemy came to an end in everlasting ruins. Their cities you rooted out. The very memory of them has perished. When David speaks of his enemies turning back and stumbling, he's not describing a random chance in fortune. He's witnessing the direct result of God's judgment. The enemy falls, not because of David's strength or strategy, but because of God's presence. They stumble and perish before your presence. That changes everything. We often think justice comes by our own effort, by fighting harder, shouting louder, or controlling more. But David sets the record straight. Real justice flows from the throne of God. He writes, "You have maintained my cause. You have sat on the throne, giving righteous judgment." God is not a passive observer. He's the ruling judge. He sees, he acts, and he brings down evil in his timing. David had plenty of enemies. His life was full of real danger. People wanted him gone. Nations that rose up against him, threats that felt overwhelming. But in every case, God's justice stood above it all. David's confidence wasn't in political power or military victory. It was in the Lord's righteous judgment. So these verses don't just describe temporary setbacks for the wicked. They describe complete collapse. You have blotted out their name forever and ever. This is the language of total defeat. Cities are uprooted, memories erased. The point isn't that David takes pleasure in these destructions. It's that God defends his people and doesn't let evil stand. Now that's a hard truth and a comforting one. It reminds us that God doesn't ignore injustice. He doesn't just sweep evil under the rug. In a world that often feels upside down, where corruption wins and innocent suffer, we need to hear this. God sees, God rules, and he will not let evil have the final word. At the same time, this is a beautiful reminder of what happens when anyone sets themselves against God. To stand in opposition to his righteousness is to walk a path that leads to ruin. This isn't about God being cruel. It's about God being holy. Sin carries consequences, and God's justice, though patient, is final. For believers, this truth does offer hope. We don't have to fight our battles alone. We don't have to fear when the wicked seem strong. The throne of heaven is occupied. Judgment belongs to the Lord, and his verdict is always right. So today, take heart. If you are facing opposition, remember who fights for you. If you are weary of injustice, remember who judges in righteousness. And if you are tempted to take matters into your own hands, remember the power of God's presence, enough to make enemies stumble and perish. God's peace and many blessings be with you, and thank you for listening. And please take an opportunity to share this message with others.